Today we're having a classic matchup between Light and L from the anime Death Note, and how their match would go if they were to play chess against each other. So basically kind of how I've calculated this game is I've just pulled up one of my recent game data that I feel reflects their game the most, and I've added their character notes to them. I've done some research, and basically I'm going to be commentating this game in a fashion with Light playing with the white pieces and L playing with the black pieces, especially since if you've seen the anime and you've seen kind of how the anime goes, Light receives this notebook called the Death Note, and it is extremely overpowered. He can kill people by writing their names in it, which means Light basically starts with the advantage in the show, and he makes the first move by killing people, and L has to prove basically that find out who's doing all these killings, put him to justice, and figure out all the stuff how they're doing it. So L starts with a disadvantage, not knowing anything about the book, and he also makes the second move by after the killings are made, then he's put on the case to solve it, which is why it makes sense for Light to start with white, starting with the technical advantage of white and making the first move. So let's begin. Light is a very smart individual, and he's also very unorthodox. He's also very aggressive person. Light sometimes lets his emotions get the best of him, but he's typically very calm, cool, and collected when he needs to be, but that doesn't hide his aggressive and passionate tendencies, which is why I believe he would strike for the center with an aggressive opening such as C4 the English, similar to something that I would play. Light, very calm, collected, throws very small punches, small jabs, and hits you with something hard in the end. But Light would start with the E6, something very small, very preparing for D5, trying to mask his intentions, because after this move you could just develop the knight, you could play something small, but you could also lash out with D5 when you want to. So we've continued development from Light, and then boom, we have our first strike in the center. Light, being an aggressive, passionate player, is easily going to take. He's not going to let L best him in the center. And he immediately takes the center, grabbing more space. Aggressive is natural, as normal. But L has a plan for this, as he just develops his knight. And he plays, we've now actually entered a Queen's Gambit type of setup. Yeah, this is basically like a Queen's Gambit declined. And just like that, L has found a way to transpose from the English into an opening that he plays more. L would be so smart as to basically take the game that Light is playing and twist it into playing it into his game. And now we're playing his game, we're playing his opening, we're playing his pawn structure, because L basically, with that move, reveals that my plan all along was never to play into your aggressive English games. It's to play Queen's Gambit decline. We're going to play a very strict and positional type of game, which L believes he will thrive in. But of course, Light takes the challenge and says, you know what, take a deep breath. Fine, I'll beat you in this positional game. Light took the first L, basically, is what we're saying. But pawn to E3, what we get next from Light, as he's very smart individual, very calm, cool, collected, and decides to alter his plans of playing such an aggressive, realizing his opponent is actually stronger than he thought. L is actually pretty smart. I gotta give him his respect. So now we have G4, black bishop to G4, pinning the knight to the queen. Really just trying to restrict Light's movements. I believe L realizes how Light is such a hot-headed type of angry character, so he's like, all right, let's start restricting your pieces. And we have actually a couple of inaccuracies, but L's move forced Light to make an inaccuracy because he's thinking, I know he's not gonna like this move, and Light did not like his restrictions. Immediately said, no, you won't be restricting me, causing him to also make an inaccuracy. Nothing too detrimental though, as you can see the eval bar is still very even. We get D6 from L. Castles. maybe a bit of a premature castling from Light, but we get a castle from L as well. And now we get the kicking of the bishop. Light slides it back once, you know, keeping that pressure. And Light, again, with the aggressive tendencies, is starting to show a few bit of cracks in the armor, you could say. Light, being a very smart individual, does not have the overwhelming advantage that he had with the Death Note. So he can't quite play this as aggressive as if he were to have such a overwhelming power as the Death Note. But it appears Light is, you know, still playing into his aggressive nature. L simply just develops Knight, maintaining his 0.6 advantage, very small, but knowing L, he will be able to convert this game. Now we get E4, simply looking to threaten this fork, but also just crack open the center, as you now have to take or move one of these pieces right here, which is very frustrating. So you're probably just going to end up taking. L plays the best move though, which is taking, not really ignoring all the threats. And again, we have such aggressive natures and lines from Light, which can breed good results in the end. But L is just playing such a calm, strong, and positional game that he's maintaining this 0.7 advantage even once we get takes with the Knight, looking to trade off even more pieces. But now you can see some weaknesses coming positionally as Light is starting to fall into L's trap of playing the Queen's Gambit declined. Because he wanted to start with an aggressive English opening, really start breaking open the center and attack. But now that L has said, no, we're going to actually transpose this opening to a Queen's Gambit decline and play my game. We're going to play very positional. Light, preparing to play such an aggressive line, is now starting to have some positional weaknesses, which is falling into the trap. So now we get a couple of trades, and L slides the rook over, attacking the queen, gaining time. Light must move away. And now we get Light simply just sliding that knight back into the center. His pawn structure is slightly better than L's. The bishop placement is also a little bit better. We got bishop threatening this knight right here, or putting some pressure on this knight right here. And if I ever move this bishop, we're probably going to have some issues with this pawn structure. But if I don't move this bishop, he might double up and get some more pressure on it, as it's only being protected by the queen. So we can start to see L's master plan coming to work. Light, again, playing very aggressive, but you can't go wrong with connecting the bushes, connecting the rooks positionally, and also looking to take more pieces off the board. That'd be better for Light right now. So he's looking to pin and just kind of put some pressure right there. L, again, playing the best move, just decides to kick Light's piece. Light takes a step back, best move. And wow, we have a perfectly timed lash out from L. And I don't think Light fully anticipated this. I think Light was trying to fall back and say, you know, I've been playing very aggressive this game. Let me make sure I just provide some pressure and also play it and take it a little slow. I don't know if he was prepared for such a lash out, such as G5 from L. And that definitely had to have caught him off guard as he slides back, which is the best move. But we get trades, and now a pawn structure is starting to break open from the positional play of L. We get a push up from the queen, immediately looking to scope out that pawn that the weakness that L created from nothing. We get a pawn push. So Light is fighting back, and Light is fighting back hard. We get a pawn push. We're going to gain tempo. We're going to actually get able to move this bishop on a better diagonal, possibly as well. So we get the best move, sliding the bishop back. We have the great only move, Light, showing his tactical genius, the way that he broke out of this situation. He's now using this doubled up pawn as a wedge to stop these pawns from climbing forward, and they're all protecting each other. And there's just no way that Light can break in now. We can possibly look to slide the knight in right here on these lines. Once we trade, we're going to have this pawn weak in the center, but now we're going to look to slide the rook over. We're going to keep it protected, and Light is just playing a masterful game. Expect nothing less from Light Yagami, the tactical genius, especially when it comes down to making timely decisions. So we get some trades, and we get a rook slide up. So L playing his positional prowess to a T, and we get our costly mistake from Light, as he got just a little too emotional. He jumps in with the knight, you know, looking to add some pressure, get some kind of attack going, put some pressure on this knight. You can't really move the queen now, but it's just too aggressive, and the move will in the long run end up costing him a pawn with takes and all these trades, and that pawn will just end up falling because you can't take back. But we get our first miss from L, as L is not perfect as a detective. He can't see everything, and that's just the truth of it. He just can't see and find everything, which is frankly very unfortunate that he missed such a line, because it was a difficult line to find, not an easy one by any means possible, or I'm sorry, not an easy one by any means, but it was a findable one, and L just wasn't able to find it, not this time, and that might cost him, as the game is back to being even, and Light's tactical ferociousness and cunning, it's just a little bit too much for him. But we get a miss. We get a miss from Mr. Yagami, as his best move was actually to sack the knight for the pawn right here, because then I'm trying to see the follow-up. Because he can't take with the king. Or what is our best move? No. Knight's pinned. Everything slides over, and then we end up winning the knight regardless. Fair. As that would have been the best move. Light misses the move. Light unfortunately cannot find the best play for his knight, as we saw towards the end of the series when he told one of his underlings to do a move and he was not able to execute that move to the best of his ability and misused one of his pieces basically on the chessboard, and he plays this move, which ends up just losing a pawn from the long run. Because, you know, you look at it and it's like, all right, not too bad, but the best move by L is played. Such class by L, seeing his aggressive nature and just locking Light down, locking Light in jail, not falling for the tactics. And L just simply slides the rook up one square, deeming this knight useless, protecting this knight double. Now this knight just hangs, and this pawn just hangs, because there's nothing you can do fast enough to get anything really going along here. And because of this costly mistake, we've seen tendencies in the past where Light gets very emotional as the end of the series, when Light gets caught and he's like, thought he won, you know, don't laugh yet. But once he realized he didn't win, he lashes out. What do you mean? I've been framed, yelling, throwing a fit almost like a child. And he slides the rook over. Another costly mistake, as L just decimates him from a slightly losing position. L is now digging his own grave. Even worse, as he runs, Light is now running. Basically, this is insane. This is insane. I should have won. Light, just like in the end of the season fashion, is turning his loss Light, just like the end of the season fashion, is turning his loss. No, no, it wasn't me. I've been framed. Trying to run, digging his own grave, making it worse for himself as Light finds Knight E4. Fully trapping your knight. This move just wins a knight at this point. Yeah, this move is the dagger. You went from losing a pawn to losing a knight. And again, Light, if there's one thing he's gonna do, he's gonna run. Because he thought this was his perfect victory. But we get the knight, jumps back to the safe square, and L finds the move. Rook takes knight, capitalizing on the relative pin. Light, impossible, tries to run. Very good move still, he's fighting. But with such class, L just slides the rook back. Impossible, no, I refuse. Light still trying to find ways to win. A check, grabs the pawn. Double up the rooks. Trying not to lose more pieces. Check. Discovered attack. Slides the king up. Impossible. No. No. Oh. We get a take. We get a take. Still fighting. No, impossible. I'm going to push my pawn. I'm going to win. This is my perfect victory. Trying to flag almost too. Light. Sore loser. Trying anything in his way. Check. Push. Takes. And now he's winning another pawn. Light trying not to let any more pawns fall. Falls victim to this move. Check. Flies the king up. Almost like he's trying to look for draw opportunities now. Take my pieces. I'm going to draw. I'm going to flag. Impossible. This was my win. Takes. Light infiltrating. Trying to get anything going. Queen slides it down. Queen comes back. Check. Takes the pawn. Slides over. We get a pin. We get a push from Light. Truly just trying to check. Takes. Check. And is Light. Each bullet hitting Light, similar to the end of the season. As Light lays there on the verge of death on the stairs. Ryu grabs the death note, laughs and says, "This was fun, Light," as he begins to sign his name. And the death note reads, Light Yagami. As L takes down Light. What led me to this belief was that L was this better detective and strategist than Light, strictly because he was able to account for all his people better, and L was a better leader as well. And it makes sense because L was older, he was more mature, he was a better leader. Light beat L, but that was because of a lot of overpowered tactics, such as the Shinigami eyes and all types of things like that. And I actually think Light would have won in the end of the series too, and beat Nier and Mello without all that. But he didn't account for how his people felt and how he was using a lot of people, and one of the people that he told to do something didn't follow his orders out fully, which it doesn't really take away from Light's genius. It just takes away from his leadership skills. And I think leadership skills transfer to the chessboard because you have a lot of pieces and you need to know what to do with all of those pieces. And you need to be able to come with a plan and stick with it and not be as emotional. You know, a lot of psychological plays in chess. And how you feel as a person can also reflect how you play on the board. Crazy enough. And I just feel like L on even grounds and even bases would be able to best Light in this chess game, at least the first chess game they played, because you know L would definitely be able to utilize his resources better, be more mature, and toy with Light's emotions, as he's seen to be very emotional. Again, if they played more chess games, you know, I think Light would definitely win, maybe even best them more times. But as far as their first chess game goes, I believe L would take the win. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.